Sound the alarm. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Emergency. CHGO Cubs Podcast. Another big move. And it's during the Bears game. Next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's an emergency edition of the CHGO Cubs Podcast. Unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. And yes, boy, we're really making this hold true today. Cubs over everything.
That's right.
The Cubs waited all offseason to make this massive move, and they do it in the fourth quarter of a Bears playoff game.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's a good thing because I'm depressed watching this game right now. I get a text from Corey Friedman. He's like Alex Bregman. My brain just completely shuts down. I black out. I get up. I can't even type on my keyboard if we're doing a show or not. I can't believe it. We have Alex Bregman, Nico Horner, Dansby Swanson, Pete Crow Armstrong. We have a squad. We have a squad for the next remaining 5 years to finish off this decade. I am beyond ecstatic, Luke.
That is Brendan Miller, Cubs-related podcast as well. I'm Luke Stuckmeyer. This is what we do. When we say Cubs over everything, that's because we're saying, listen, over everything.
Yeah.
And yes, we're not all the other stations out there. Everybody's just sitting waiting for the end of the Bears game. No. This is a Cubs story. We're doing Cubs, and you can listen to it when you want to listen to it.
Listen, I have no hobbies. All I do is watch baseball and the Cubs. When the Cubs aren't playing, I just download every highlight from last year. Like, I just breathe the Chicago Cubs for better or for worse. I got no life but the Chicago Cubs. So this is what you get.
That's right. And yes, you may see us looking up at the Bears game occasionally, but that's another story. Okay. Yeah. So the deal is, Heyman had it first, then Passan. Alex Bregman, the guy they went after last year but didn't get, he wanted to come here. And we've been waiting to see him. We always thought it was kind of weird that, the Cubs obviously need a bat because they're gonna lose their right fielder, right? So we knew they needed a bat, but Shaw was pretty good at points last year. And so it was like, what are they gonna do? And we've heard these different rumors. The deal is 5 years, $175 million for Alex Bregman. He is a legit third baseman. He is a legit bat in your lineup, middle of your lineup. And according to Jesse Rogers, there is a no trade clause along with this deal. So you won't be trading him for 5 years unless he wants to go back somewhere else. Here's the interesting thing now. We don't know where it goes from here. But Brendan, I said on our podcast the other day, this was a week ago, before they had done anything. And I said, all right, my New Year's resolution is this. If Jed can somehow pull off getting a top of the end rotation type guy, whether it's trade or signing, and they can still get this bat, whoever that bat might be, I won't question Jed Hoyer the rest of 2026. I'll just let it play out. I won't call any questions out about why did he do this? Why didn't they do that? I won't question it. We know there's a budget on this thing. He pulled it off in less than a week. Like he bang. He makes the trade for Cabrera, and now he goes and gets this guy Bregman. I say hats off. I know there's a lot of people that believe in Shaw, and it's not that I don't believe in Shaw. There is more certainty in Alex Bregman, and you have so many guys on this roster that are, if they can do this year, Bregman will do what Bregman does.
The question is, what happens to Matt Shaw? You point out Matt Shaw, he was good last year in the second half. He had a strong second half boom where the power came up. In fact, he put up better offensive numbers than Alex Bregman in that second half. So obviously our mind goes to, what do you do with Matt Shaw? I had the same question. So, Luke, I don't know if you saw this. What I did is I downloaded every single projection from Fangraph's depth chart and I made a simulation. I said,
Oh,
hey,
man.
listen,
That's what you
I
do.
need Matt Shaw to get 500 plate appearances.
Yeah.
Can this work? And my simulation said, oh, yeah, it can work. In fact, if you optimize total number of projected wins, the number of plate appearances that Matt Shaw would get would be 522 on the dot. So that means Alex Bregman can get a full slate of plate appearances. Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, you dial back at bats from Moises Ballesteros by about 80 plate appearances. You dial back at bats from Michael Busch by about 50, and everyone gets their fair share of play. The reason is you use that DH spot. You shift around Bregman from third base. He can spell Nico. Nico can spell Dansby as shortstop, and you get the insurance policy that if Dansby or Nico goes down, well, guess what? You just slot in your other Gold Glover from second base to play Gold Glove shortstop, or you slot in your former World Series champion Alex Bregman to play second base, or your booming Gold Glove third baseman from last year of Matt Shaw. It's a perfect scenario, and it mitigates so much risk for this roster.
So your hope is that moving forward as they go here, that they won't trade Nico. Obviously, I know you're thinking that because that would end you. They won't trade Nico and they won't trade Shaw. They'll keep everybody. They'll use Shaw as this super utility guy. Nico's on the last year of his deal. We'll see what happens with that, right? But this gives the Cubs a little flexibility there too if they want to. Am I putting words in your mouth? You're hoping that everybody's staying and this doesn't mean necessarily that somebody's getting traded?
Now, you never know what the front office is thinking. The pessimism is, well, the front office and ownership, they have payroll restrictions. Maybe this does loom large for a Nico trade. I would be surprised if they did that, because then if they were to sign Bregman and immediately trade Nico, well, you negate the value you just brought up. So I would be shocked if they trade Nico. Now, once 26 does end, you can't discount the possibility that Nico will treat himself as a shortstop on the 27 free agent market. And frankly, he should, given what shortstops are paid. And because he's in the prime, at the tail end of his prime athleticism, he could get more money as a shortstop. So it does give the Cubs another option after this season. But no, for 2026, I would be floored if they trade Nico. And in fact, signing Bregman only adds value to this roster because Nico can also be included in that positional depth at shortstop.
Do you think before this happened, before tonight, before they interrupted the game, and the Bears are only down 3 now, before they interrupted our Bears fandom, were you more Bregman over Bichette?
Oh yeah. So let me tell you
over Bichette.
Let me tell you the story of how this happened. Okay. So the offseason starts, and I'm looking at the pitching and I'm thinking, oh my God, Shota just denied that 2-year extension.
Yeah.
We have no pitching depth. And all of a sudden you get Colin Ray, you bring back Shota on a qualifying offer, and you start seeing a lot of the money spent on, I believe now 5 total bullpen arms. And you're thinking, oh man, like, where's this money going to go? You can't probably afford a starting pitcher or two. Now I'm obsessed with Alex Bregman. So I have not stopped thinking about Bregman for the past week. I put out a tweet 5 days ago thinking, you know what? I want Edward Cabrera and Alex Bregman. That's my ideal offseason.
That was your top ceiling move.
That was it as of a week ago. And so, of course, Jed Hoyer, he follows me, and every single front office executive follows me. He's like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. I put out the simulation for war. Of course, they only make moves based on what I want. And next thing you know, 48 hours later, Alex Bregman's a Chicago Cub.
Yeah, so what grade do we give Jed Hoyer at this point? I mean, you look at what Jed Hoyer has done. He's added like 5 bullpen guys. He's basically rebuilt the bullpen. He's kept Shota. He kept Colin Ray. And he's added Cabrera in a trade, trading away Casey. So really, I can't say that the farm system is depleted. I will say that I believe now we can say almost officially that Seiya is your full-time right fielder and Ballesteros will be your DH. What do you think of that?
I think that's the likely outcome as the offseason stands right now. The surprising aspect of this contract is the annual average value of $35 million. Before he was signed, according to future tax projections, the Cubs were about $32 million underneath that first tier. So if that's the case, then signing Bregman puts them over that first tier right away. And then you start thinking, well, can they even sign another guy to iron out this outfield depth? Or are they going to lock and load with Tyler Austin and Kevin Alcantara and those five guys in the outfield? I would imagine what you laid out with Ballesteros getting at bats probably around 300, unless he starts to progress, is a likely outcome. And then you hope that you can get some production from Kevin Alcantara as your outfield depth.
What about the idea that I've been kind of slinging out there of the Cubs from the very beginning? The strategy I wanted the Cubs to take was do something different. Go out there and stockpile starters like nobody's doing. Yeah. Like nobody's doing.
Well, they sure did that, Luke.
Go out there and run out. You know what? You got a year before this potential work stoppage. Go out there and throw out a 6 or 7 man rotation. Start piggybacking guys all season, right? And then if you get to the point where you don't need guys, you can do anything you want at the trade deadline. Did you see what the price of pitching was last year?
Yeah.
Or if you get to the trade deadline and you're winning your division, or you think you're not going to need certain guys because your rotation looks healthy, because Steele has come back into the picture, because maybe Jackson Wiggins has come into the picture, then you can trade a Shota or a Tyone at the end and either rebuild your farm system or go get what you really need for that stretch run. Build a surplus and stock load your pitching staff with starters, not just relievers. More starters. Add additional starters.
That would be a pipe dream. If you're in a position where you're trading, let's say, Tyone or Shota at the deadline, and then Cade Horton's the true next coming of Jake Arrieta. That would be a pipe dream. I think, Luke, like the realistic outcome is that of the current 11 starting pitchers, you're going to fill what you need innings wise for a full season. So inevitably, someone's going to go down, whether it be Tyone.
Half of them have injury history. Like I wouldn't be surprised if half of them go down, knock on wood.
Exactly. So that's the likely scenario. And when I was gearing up for the offseason, there was one phrase that stuck with me in Jed Hoyer's end of season press conference. And he was asked about why the moves at the deadline for pitching were, and this is again all paraphrasing, why were they so muted? Like, why wasn't there maybe more of an effort to bolster that pitching beyond Soroka? And the explanation he gave was that the market at last year's deadline was too hot. That pitching value was valued higher than previous seasons, which then prohibited him from going out and trading, for example, Cabrera, and giving up Matt Shaw and Owen Casey. So the market was too hot. And it reminded me of the 2024 presser when he was talking about bullpen depth and how the bullpen depth wasn't up to standard. Next thing you know, last offseason, they're signing bullpen relievers, minor league contract, the Brad Keller types left and right. So I'm thinking, what if they do something similar this offseason? And it's almost as if they took that bullpen strategy from 24 and free agency and the offseason market, and they applied it to the starting pitching side. So now you have this huge depth in your bullpen. You have this depth in your starting rotation, and you may not even have to make a move at the trade deadline if the market is just as hot as it was last July.
Let me tell you, the mood of Cubs convention coming up a week from today.
They always do this. Shota.
I mean, it went from being people picketing outside Cubs convention to they will get a massive applause now for what they have done this offseason. I'm not going to give a grade for it because I don't know yet, but they did accomplish some things that if you would have told me midway through the season, and we didn't know what Tucker's outcome was. Everybody thought it was all in for Tucker, right? Like you have to sign Tucker. You have this great player. And I don't even know where he's going to end up now. Like I didn't want to really necessarily go down the Bellinger road again. Not that he's a bad player. I do like this route. I think it's smart. I think it's infield depth that with Nico up next year, gives you some flexibility. It allows you to
Create
do whatever you want with Shaw.
Exactly. It creates more roads and more avenues to sustain your success.
Yes.
You brought up right there the Nico flexibility. That's a positional flexibility as well. You're distracted watching them miss a field goal right now. I'm distracted watching them miss a field goal right now.
They held them to a field goal.
What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Cubs, right? Cubs related, right? But it gives the Cubs more flexibility to improve, not just in 26, but beyond as well. If, like, say, Nico does go out and test the market as he should. Where I fall back on my excitement level is in addition to like the wins he provides and projections. What I mean is
I missed it.
The culture fit. That's what I was saying. He missed a field goal.
Missed a field goal.
What I'm saying is the culture fit for Bregman and this team, from my perspective, Luke.
Yeah.
I gravitate towards those personality types the most. I've enjoyed watching Nico develop for the past 8 years as a Cub because he has that intensity level. When Jake Arrieta was coming out of his shell from 2013, 2014, I loved his mound presence. You loved Ryan Sandberg because he was the ultimate professional, the ultimate guy, no nonsense, high intensity. You get that with Alex Bregman.
Yeah.
So seeing Dansby and Bregman and Nico share an infield and the intensity and the mentorship he brings to Pete Crow Armstrong from an entertainment standpoint, from a narrative standpoint, it's compelling. It's really interesting and really entertaining. And it takes me back to a lot of the reasons why Last Core was so fun, because of the personality types. It's not dry. It's really compelling what this roster will look like next year.
You know, I think the biggest question about the Bregman stuff for a lot of fans that are huge fans of Matt Shaw is, well, why? You have this guy that's so cheap and under control. And didn't you see his second half? And his numbers were better than Bregman's in the second half. And I think the easy response is yes. Did you also see his postseason, which is a short sample size? But did you see it? And did you see the first half? And while I still believe greatly in Matt Shaw, as I was mentioning at the top of this, there's still way more uncertainty with him than Alex Bregman. I think the Cubs will hang on to him. I think they will use all of these players. And when I look at the team now, I ask myself, is this a better mix right now than what they had last year?
I think so.
I mean, I don't see how you couldn't say that. Like, because Tucker was, if you had Tucker at his peak,
right,
then you have a different story.
So I think you look at this time last year, it's important to remember that while our ceiling expectations of Tucker were that of a top 5 player, he had injuries in years past that dampened projections for him. He was projected last year, Luke. I know you're a big numbers guy, big WAR guy.
Yeah, I love heat maps.
He was a 4.7 WAR projection last. I got no heat maps for you right now, but Tucker was a 4.7 WAR projection last year. Bregman's 4.1. They're projected to provide similar value. So when you say, "Oh, well, I feel better about this team this year than last year," the response back to you is going to be, "Well, Tucker's the obvious bet because he has slug." That's true, but Bregman's valuable in a similar fashion because of the positional flexibility and the plate approach that he brings to combine with that positional flexibility. So is this team better than last year? Undeniably, yes. You have now a built-in insurance policy for injuries with similar projected positional WAR, and now your depth in the starting rotation, bringing back Shota Imanaga, Colin Ray, Cade Horton's projection. Justin Steele is still projected to be an above-average pitcher in around 100 innings next year. You have more confidence in the value of your existing roster, especially now with Matt Shaw's good and bad, where you know what that looks like, and now Pete Crow Armstrong having a full year under his belt.
All right. Here's what I say. There's 2 minutes left in this Bears game.
Yeah. How distracted are you right now?
I'm distracted.
You're the ultimate professional.
We're gonna wrap this up in a second so people can listen to it probably after this game is over, because there's a lot of distracted people.
Yeah.
But Give me your good, better, best. Never let it rest for the Cubs this offseason so far.
Well, when your good gets better.
Yeah. And your better gets best. I hope we're going to hear that tonight.
I hope so.
I'm really hoping we're going to hear that tonight.
I believe when camp opens, you're going to see this really exciting mixture of development from young players mixed in with veteran leadership, veteran intensity, and you're going to see a lot of unexpected performances from minor league pitching signings. You're going to see Shaw come look a little bit better. I believe my optimistic side is that this is the ideal mix of veteran leadership, veteran projected value, prospect ceiling, and depth. If you were to mold a team, relatively speaking, underneath our perceived financial restraints, this is my ideal roster from an entertainment perspective and a value perspective. Defense all around, intensity all around.
Oh, you love the defense.
Give me 20 pitchers. I got half of Tread Athletics in the minor leagues over there pitching. Every storyline that we will follow has a level of intrigue that I am not familiar with from years past.
Do they still need a left-handed bat? Another one.
I don't think they do. I think right now the positional value they project is sufficient. I think the roster, if it were to go into the season next year, there's enough value, enough confidence to start the season as is. It doesn't mean they won't need to improve as the season progresses, but I do believe right now they have what they need.
I also don't think they have to trade either of those guys. I don't think they have to
No,
trade
I don't think
Shaw.
they
I don't
will.
think they have to trade Nico. All right, let's wrap this up. Let everybody enjoy their Bears finish. Bears with a chance, down 3, 2 minutes to go.
Let's see if they do enjoy it, but yeah.
This is it. But Alex Bregman, the big story. Alex Bregman, the Cubs interrupt the Bears game. 5 years, $175 million, a no-trade clause, but the Cubs have their third baseman and more for next season. Cubs convention coming up. We'll have more coming up on Bregman, I'm sure, throughout the weekend and also Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all next week. And then coverage of the convention as well. Brendan, thanks for jumping on with me so we could get something out there.
Good to see you, Luke. Good to see you.
You're going to have some heat maps out there for us?
I'm going to have so many heat maps. I'm going to break your eyesight.
Oh, man, I can't wait for this.
There's going to be Skittles all around, Luke. Skittles all around. Tropical Skittles just for you.
In front of a fire and just watch heat maps on my computer.
That's my life.
Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs Emergency Podcast brought to you by our friends at Xfinity. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter as well and on social media. For Brendan Miller, I'm Luke Stuckmeyer. Cubs get Bregman. Until next time, thanks for watching and fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.